If you give a man a fish, he eats for a day. If you teach a man to fish, he eats for life. But if you build a robot to fish, do all men starve to death? That is the question posed by Scott Santens, one of the outspoken proponents for the basic income idea. An idea that has fans on both the far right and the far left. The last idea to accomplish that was a bill mandating that Dr. Oz shut the up. Basic income says that every American is given a certain amount of money every month, no matter who they are, rich or poor, young or old, black or white. The number usually talked about for basic income is $1,000 per month. Now, if you're American like me, you hear this and you immediately get skeptical. Something deep down within our core cries out, "Hold on! That sounds way too fair. That sounds ridiculously equal. Where's the knockdown, drag-out competition in which I have to beat out the other guy or I die? Where's the I'm better than you, and to prove it, I'm going to make sure you can't feed your family mentality that has made America great, huh?" But basic income makes a ton of sense. The left wing likes it because it would end homelessness and poverty. The right wing likes it because it would end welfare, Medicare, Social Security, and it would end left-wingers whining constantly about homelessness and poverty. Think about that, right-wingers. How great would your life be if you never had to hear another asshole like me go, "But what about the homeless? There's children forced to sleep inside dead raccoons, and then waking up at 3 a.m. to go to work at a factory that produces hookers for billionaires." Never have to hear it again. And basic income is not a new idea either. It was a stated goal of pinko, commie, leftist, feminazi Richard Nixon. And before the Senate crushed it, the House of Representatives even passed a bill for basic income in 1970. Nowadays, you'd have trouble getting the House to agree on a bill for basic water. Just ask Detroit. They love some basic water. But people said basic income would never work. Everyone would quit their jobs. Everyone would sit around all day just diddling themselves. Right? First of all, if that's really your plan for every minute of free time, then maybe it's a personal problem. Secondly, if you replace diddling themselves with reading, creating art, spending time with your kids, planting a household garden, taking care of grandpa, and diddling fellow consenting adults of an appropriate age, then it doesn't sound so bad, does it? But most importantly, studies prove that people don't stop working just because they're given some money. In fact, several studies show that people work harder when they have the option to avoid an activity than when they're forced to do it. There are also studies showing that in tasks that involve even a low level of cognitive skill, there is a negative correlation between greater monetary reward and increased performance. In large-scale tests of basic income in Seattle and Denver, they found that people decreased the amount they worked by only 8%. And here's the thing. We could stand to work less, all right? Not that many of us are emergency medical technicians saving lives, giving mouth-to-mouth to Nobel Peace Prize winners, all right? Guess what? If the copy for that leg wax commercial that you're working on gets written 8% slower, we're gonna be okay. If 8% fewer bloomin' onions get delivered to customers, humankind will continue. Hell, think of some of the most powerful positions in the world. CEO of Goldman Sachs or Citibank. If they do 8% less work, how great would that be for the planet? Literally, the only job that we can't afford as a species to slow down by 8% is the guy running the amusement park rides, all right? If I have to wait 8% longer for the log flume, standing in the blistering sun between a kid screaming because his blood is critically low on Skittles, and a man wearing Freedom Ain't Free t-shirt talking about how we faked the moon landing, I will beat someone to death with a flip-flop. In fact, there is a place in the world where a low level of basic income is already in place. The people are paid a dividend simply for living there. It's called Alaska, as in the place that used to be run by this lefty socialist queen. Here's another benefit. The very ability of people to not need a job makes it that much harder for employers to exploit employees with insufficient wages and poor working conditions. Wait, in America without exploited workers, now you're just destroying our culture. So now that I have you convinced that this is the best idea ever, how do we pay for it? It sounds like a lot of money. Well, first of all, once you get rid of all the programs it would eliminate, you've covered over half of the cost. But you still need $1 trillion. That money can come from a lot of places, like closing the tax loopholes for corporations and billionaires, decreasing the $1 trillion a year military budget, taxing capital gains, taxing transactions on Wall Street. So let's see, better, healthier society, more time off work, more power for workers, no more poverty, cut down bureaucracy, and vastly decreased inequality. But why would we do that when our current system is working like gangbusters? I mean, look around. Is anyone complaining? No. We're busy saving up for those anxiety pills we have on layaway.